This rifle is going to be the halo product for Barrett firearms.
The MRADELR is expanding our capabilities, not just for the MRAD platform, but for the .416 Barrett cartridge as well.
This would just further that reputation that we already had it with the 50. If somebody was going to exceed that, it should be us.
The brand reputation precedes itself, so we have to match that. We don't have a choice, we have to rise to the occasion.
And just have this rifle be a part of a legacy of Barrett.
I remember being approached by management, ownership. They mentioned that they wanted to design and develop a new product, and it would be like a new flagship, a halo product, as I think the term they used. Like Chevrolet has their Corvette Z06. It's their flagship. Ferrari, the LaFerrari, or Lamborghini. So we wanted to try to capture that with our brand as leaders in long range, and we wanted to reset the expectation from customers when they buy an ELR rifle off the shelf.
What's interesting about this product is it was in development when Naya acquired Barrett. So Rob Naya, the new owner, saw the potential and allowed us to continue through and developing the project, even though it wasn't actually ready to launch when he purchased the company. You know, so there's a lot of overlap between Ronnie Barrett's perspective on how things should be done and Rob Naya's perspective. They share a lot of similarities. You know, we're sold out 1 and 2 years into the future on every single product we make. So to release something brand new is very difficult to work into the production schedules.
So one of the things we wanted to do is have a out-of-the-box rifle that you could take factory ammo and go compete at the KO2M and do very well against other rifles that are spent probably more money on that he's trying to do a custom build on.
It started with just kind of a blank sheet of paper. We have a lot of design in the MRAD, so we used a lot of its characteristics in the MRAD and really kind of just scaled up the MRAD and MRAD Mark 22.
So what we did was essentially merged the Model 99 and the MRAD into a magazine-fed bolt-action rifle that was capable of firing a .416 cartridge.
Ronnie Wright and I used to travel around quite a bit in 2017 and 18 and 19, shooting a lot of different matches together. We talked to a lot of different military operators, bullet manufacturers, barrel manufacturers, and we got a lot of input from them. And then when we got back to the office, we'd sit around and brainstorm together as a team and figure out the pros and cons of each feature that we wanted to add to the gun that we thought would be beneficial to the end shooter.
We want to make sure that everything that comes out of this factory, the customer gets the same result we did.
Sales will come in, we all discuss basically the features that a customer would desire most in one of these products.
And once we got all their input, then we started to sit around and draft a product brief. That product brief sets the requirements of what we wanted to build.
And then we took that back to leadership and ownership, and once they signed off on that, that's what really gets the ball rolling in design.
And then at that point, what they do is start developing prototypes, different parts, whether it's creating parts from scratch or using existing parts that we have.
We learned a lot of what was needed to be changed from our previous models, such as the Model 99 that has been very successful at the KO2M. We realized that it had some downfalls that we needed to improve on, and one of them was the speed and operation of the bolt and a magazine-fed system.
For example, this MRADELR is using the muzzle brake from a Model 99. It's the most efficient brake we make for that large caliber. We take some pieces of existing items and build upon that. So the MRAD itself, being interchangeable calibers, being a mag-fed bolt-action rifle, it's widely successful. It was just adopted by SOCOM. The MRADELR is also going to be compatible with our QDL suppressor, which requires the use of that QDL suppressor brake. So the barrel itself can accept either of those existing products, and simply the MRADELR adds the large caliber capability to the MRAD platform.
start with the breech, the locking components, the barrel extension and the bolt, and just kind of work your way out from there. Ronnie Barrett always said, it has to function well, it has to easy to manipulate, it has to be ergonomically, it has to be a nice looking rifle. Something that you would build and you would own yourself.
Chris Vassar does all the heavy lifting with design. He does all the tolerance stack-ups. He does interference checks. He's the one that really designed the magazine.
I've always said the rifle is the easiest part to design. Magazines are very tough to design. They have to hold the cartridge stack at the right angle to be able to feed into the breech. Then they have to hold the proper amount of rounds. They have to lift in the front and the back at equal times. I've told people before I'd rather design 3 rifles as I had 1 magazine. A lot of other design rifles use a feed ramp, either on the barrel extension or the back of the barrel itself. So we tried to miss all those things and feed it directly to the chamber, so none of the projectile gets scarred or damaged for ultimate accuracy. And so we develop accuracy with, getting the maximum powder burn and what length barrel we do. So that dictates our barrel length that we design around. And you try to do as much recoil management as you can with a muzzle brake on the end.
A user can change this barrel anytime they please. So competitive shooters, they know when their barrel is starting to go out. You compare it to a NASCAR driver and they're swapping tires all the time. They know when those tires are no good. So being able to swap that barrel out is part of the element of success for this product, being able to compete in that arena.
The design part is easy, and then getting a working prototype and then developing it from there, see what you have to fix and then build a pre-production run, as part of our product development process we do here at Barrett.
We design and build prototypes, test it. Well, then what? Somebody has to lead the charge to get it productionized.
The first thing I was told was, hey, we need to get this thing launched ASAP. And I was super pumped.
We had a very tight timeline on this project, and he kept things rolling and made sure everybody was doing their jobs, working with the vendors, getting different pieces of the puzzle coming in that are made out of house.
And so we have to create CNC programs and create inspection for quality and to make sure we're getting a good part.
To take something that the design team created and put it on paper or a CAD model and to get it at a production level, there's a lot of things that we go through. We bring parts in from suppliers. We're machining parts on the floor. They're coming down, quality's measuring them. We're doing all of our checks and balances. And it's a lot, man. Like, people don't realize how many people and what it takes to put a part into production.
And then sales, from the sales side of things, when the sales department needs information or marketing, everything funnels through Ryan Johnson at that point.
We already have our plate full with current production with the Mark 22 and all the big guns. And then to introduce a new rifle, with the same amount of people, with the same shop floor, the space, all that, it's been challenging.
So freeing up those resources and finding ways to produce more without cutting a single corner, requires support from the top down to the very bottom. Every single person in the company has to be on board with this, has to work together in concert to actually make it happen.
Fast forward, we've kind of hit a few iterations of this product, and that's when I stepped in and I started helping the test engineer, Ronnie.
Ronnie Wright, a lot of people around the industry know who he is and ELR shooters. So he's been with us for several years as a test engineer.
And he and I actually performed a lot of the initial testing during development, including destructive tests, drop tests, environmental tests, live fire, endurance tests, to prove that our design was sound.
Jay has been one of the key components to this project and this adventure we've set out to do.
I work heavily in the ammunition procurement and also loading ammunition for us to consume here at the factory.
If you don't have ammunition that is precise, then you can't test exactly what your product can do. And Jay has worked up some beautiful hand loads that just shoot amazingly. And
We had been testing out to a mile at Buffalo Ridge. Jay himself has shot a 5-shot group at 1 mile that measured less than 6 inches.
I want this to be a gun that people want to shoot a lot. That's ergonomics, that's balance, it's shootability. How easy is this rifle to shoot well?
And the main thing, all that adds up is to consistency. The velocity has to be the same velocity every time you pull the trigger. If not, you're going to get high and lows on the targets.
I mean, everyone here at Barrett plays a role in this product development, whether it's, the people in the test range, the people in shipping and receiving, even the inventory people here, we expose to the level of quality of this product.
I think the rifle's actually never done. We're always trying to improve on what we've got. That's the tough part of being an engineer, is it's never done. But sooner or later you have to stop and release a product.
Believing that we're setting new benchmarks, we thought, what better way to show it than to maybe take it to King of 2 Mile.
The King of 2 Mile is not only a shooting event, but it's also learning how to call the wind. The rifle itself, I mean, we went out and just torture tested it, doing all kinds of things that might happen at a match, whether it's shooting in bad conditions or dirty conditions, shooting fast because it is magazine fed. So we want to shoot as fast as we can without the wind conditions changing.
There were details like figuring out exactly which shooters were going to be available, all the right products being in their hands to ensure that they're comfortable with it and testing it in advance.
I feel good about it. We know what it does. We've tested it. With a good result out, I can't imagine how good I'll feel about it. King of 2 Mile competition is kind of, at least for some time, was considered the Super Bowl of long-range competitions.
We make some of the largest firearms on the market, and there's not always a case that will hold it. So we had to work specifically with Pelican to make something that we could transport this item in where it would be safe, protected, and continue to perform.
So I've followed the automotive industry a lot, and over the years I've seen where they paint the cars in a black and white dazzle paint scheme. When you see a 2D image, like a photograph of something that's painted that way, it obscures the image.
So that's was the intent of it, is to camouflage but also draw interest.
When a shooter rolls up to the line with that paint job, everybody's going to look at it and say, what is that?
It's wild, it's a little different, it's eye-catching. It was everything from, yeah, I really like it, to like, oh man, that's an ugly gun. Just kidding, but not really.
And the people that come to shoot this routinely shoot several other matches a year, and they tend to do very well. Justin Wolf won last year. He's back again to try to go for a second crown. We got a pile of guys from Barrett, some of who have done extremely well in the past. And Wolf is shooting for them. Can't wait to see how he does with that.
I think the team that we had assembled kind of gave us some credibility. They knew that, hey, if these guys are willing to come shoot this rifle, there's probably something to it.
There's rules about overall weight. It has to be less than 40 pounds. I would say in the ELR game, this rifle, if anything, we come in far under the 40 pounds. We were also thinking of our military customers, and they don't want to carry around 40-pound rifles if they don't have to. But we know the ELR shooter can add the weight if they want it.
It does validate to the military that, hey, this gun is capable of sending up these custom-built rifles, and we've done enough testing on this to meet all the military specifications before we come out here.
And you get together and you get to talk about ballistics and shooting targets and guns and ammunition. It's a lot of fun, and it's banging targets and hitting steel.
It's a team sport, so we have a shooter and a spotter. For me, they're both just as important. Sometimes people say the shooter, the one that does all the thinking, is the spotter. So we respect a lot the spotters in this.
So we have two solutions that we're looking at. One is elevation, the second one is windage. We can utilize the velocity of the round, the ballistic coefficient of the round, the atmospheric conditions to give us a trajectory of the round. But the wind solution, that ballistic solution for the wind, is where it's very important to read the mirage. That determines whether you're going to hit left, hit right, or actually hit the target. The saying out here is the ballistic solution elevation-wise is scientific. The wind is voodoo.
If you could control the wind, you'd be the best ELR shooter in the world.
A lot of times at these extreme ranges, we're getting a lot of impacts in the cliff face, and you get nice rock splatter. But when they whack the plate, you get a pretty solid ding and a nice splotch. Bang out the bell as quick as we can, so the shooter has very fast feedback. It's important for their shooting cadence to touch it off and know for sure hit or miss as soon as they possibly can.
To take a bullet and with the different environmentals and the wind conditions and everything that are out there, to make it travel to a certain distance and be able to strike that steel is phenomenal.
Being behind the gun, I would say I'm as comfortable behind this gun as I am any gun that I've built for myself or others.
The rounds came out of the magazine very smoothly, and the magazine went in nicely. And clearly the number of guys that made the finals showed that it's an accurate rifle, that's for sure.
That says a lot, really, for mag feeding a rifle in an ELR competition like this.
I feel like we did accomplish our goal as a company, as a team. We had 3 shooters make it to the finale.
We hit everything there, so all for points. I don't know if it's going to be good enough to do anything, but the buzzer was going off, and that's all we care about.
Third place, taking home Duke, is Ron Endres. In second place, not his first time up here, Justin Wolf. For first, Josh Sylvie.
It's just an amazing event, and getting to see a rifle that I helped work on and see all the work that the team put into it to come together, that it actually performed as expected. And Justin displayed it with James as a spotter, and it just performed so well that it's very exciting, and we're all very happy at Barrett.
For something somebody is going to be able to buy, it's a fantastic weapon. It does everything we need it to do. Definitely not exactly the same as our custom-built ELR rifles, but it's an amazing rifle. The mag feeding, I shoot fast anyway, and the mag feeding just adds to it.
I was ecstatic. We had a lot of great teams out there that shot. I thought we impressed ourselves.
Everybody knows who makes a Corvette, and I feel like the MRADELR is our Corvette.
Yeah, it feels great to have created a rifle, a production rifle at this level, and we're making them right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It's pretty cool.
I think one of my favorite parts about this project is we've highlighted the engineering and the product development team. Those are usually the guys you actually lock into this development room and keep people away from, so they can be creative and really flex that muscle of designing and building the world's best rifles. I don't know, I would say every single employee here is part of the success of that product.
the future of this rifle is to get it out there and get it in end users' hands and just dominate competitions and have end users that possibly can end up in the military ranks.
I was really thrilled to see an off-the-shelf gun made for this sport that was really light enough weight to be fieldable.
There's actually users already fielding these rifles in military capacity that for us is a testament of its excellence before it's even launched.
So I think that's going to really encourage people to keep pushing their boundaries and pushing their skills and getting better. And I think that's what this rifle, it can do everything that you can throw at it.
You can literally buy a rifle out of the box, buy some ammunition off the shelf, and go have a great time out at the range and shoot out to 2 miles.
It's going to set some new benchmarks for the industry, for the category, the world.